obi a the 5 budget na I will say what if for Bekaya Megana for na near worry fee. Say Bekaipa a buying catcher and say a choir MPP a buy a fast digit toward the Juma, their friend of fiscal strategy no. Emunyedu Yanwini into a monomo de superior fiscal strategy member. Choir faso iniska at the Juma. Into the umbe say Ombi a tobi a fio. The tonomu yi free wa. Ebema yisika more doors because there will be higher compliance. Kofo humbe higher na oma comply more. Enti oyi to ni free wa. Ghana nyina asa the time aye fi abem obi adi ni dwawia sika aban nya fi adwuma akoso nyina no. Osese in GDP terms a 13.9% of GDP. Your friend tax to GDP ratio, non-oil tax to GDP ratio, 13.9%. Okache say, or no, yes, I see area, it will be paid 18% of GDP. Video no wo. If I head about parliament, men am responding, I'm supporting and say, Atu so be to me taxes when you nara. Now be we no. Non-oil tax to GDP ratio rather than be paid to 18%. And one empire pa. You never support you. Na ekonya no yenyina ya tena ho bi ne awo kan enye sa na ti wo de wano na edon ngra bi nwo uyi a kanko e ba be da ho ne be 6 billion right from the beginning ne ye calculations ni na kire no on say no credit o kan why free e ko to 2024 aba na ye ho aye hi nti o ka bibi hakra obi aso for asem free obi ntio but ye kan cause aso de da yourself say kan no be taxes ni na fi ho. The first level they say contrary to the promise of fat tax from Bano or the taxes in what and about 2025 8 taxes. But it's not about any goodwill near the intino. Okakra will be answered until Central for Okra and civil society organizations and Ude Kanokra Yanka say Casa Bana Yadi, but Kanokra say or the 8 taxes are Bano. Be in any or the 8 taxes by no problem. Or the taxes live by you know. By half year by you know, any who say revenue no is not performing. In fact, many ampim a debate one cry. Ampim say revenue not overperforming. Omudi data ne buy you know. Now revenue are short by 3 billion Ghana cedis. Waboka 3 billion Ghana cedis. Into media no, so ubenya brewa kohe me budget debate ye bom koko say more di kan boka 3 billion. Already more revenue now more declare no. MPP aban ye dia ijama mo wo me 11 billion. Mobile mo say enye request say ijama sika. So controller and accountant general, the friend of national account, the first line or say balance brought forward. Balance brought forward ni free fan. Sika ye jai. O de kan ho a, ye say mo di kan boka 14 billion. Na hwe yi no ubo se wunye sika spend it. Utwa so a by the end of the year, no, I feel also cutting expenses about 30 billion. What do I me half year video? No, say so the annual report number. Adia na odika 3 billion. So the 11 na kan 14 billion. As at half year, no. Say tokro na be 8 billion. Kay hu say bo kokko say omo follow adia no person ye na ombe boka be 6 billion there about. So say Waboka 8 billion, what the 11 let's say 19 billion. On the expenditure side, you know, now if you also cut it 28 billion Ghana cedis worth of expenditure. Yeah, can say 30. You should say by the time I feel back on a year, now be 30 now, if you also cut it because of the wrong fiscal strategy now, or the politics, populism. So say I started diminish. Now, 28 to 30 billion, no, and your number keko, and next for was say and kawa form a jumam na utia a teacher for was say and kawa form no utia ye call budget workshop education minister be catch us afie na omo man is come and for teacher for into 2026 now some man is come and for be 10,000 because backlog na start creating into 28 billion na American a contractor for also utia omo utia Sa 28 billion no a buying commitments a wo Kumasi a wo say utumi tuaka na contractor for ayen ho adwuma untua e. Nkenye numbers keke. But say one year fiscal strategy ni year sika na man one spending. Okay. It is a 1 year no. Not 2026. Usan be announcing new ideas, new promises, new measures. Na janto abisa me say emu ne he na metumi aka say we di obetumi na we di ontumi nya. Na me masem ne say me ye worried because o fiscal strategy no tokru kese dem a wo si 2026 no krampo no we person o say create more tokru ma me kire aban ne si o ye VAT reforms enti o reduce VAT effective rate no na we increase threshold no na se kire ne say se nkofo bebre enti VAT ne bi certain categories of businesses spend na ebitia na ebio minia force and say ne calculation ni say oye ne saa wono mo kakra na aka wom say ombitua no ombe comply ombitua na ma ban na yesika more e be moving into 15%. Kan hu no say me ka kire so ka so be ye 13.9 akọ 18 result ne buy no say the swat ye 13.9 about 13.3 say you lose 0.6% of GDP and the Ghana GDP is 1 trillion. Who calculate 0.6? I'll be to krono. 2026, you know, or so or VAT reforms into a COVID ne other VAT lines maybe NHI or adjusting. Nani hope ne say at the more revenue ebeba. Nana me or you Mr. Romano. Because they are men who 2025 now also cut it 28 billion. Okay, I say fiscal discipline. But your fiscal discipline, no. Now, say, 1, why a budget a passum? 2, strategy I say would be resist cano a passum. 3, what the aye juma mane ye na 4 we no we stay within our balances, we stay within our limits. Se wan yen sa na balance ne pe na waja now see a month say fiscal discipline ahobrasim enye fiscal discipline it is say wona oyire wo fie now say enne pa wo pa ya me koi menya 100 cedis me ba me bo akohoma 80 cedis na meja balance 20 cedis 80 cedis na me de be ma no de be ye aduane o de beto ayi amankwala ibro nya be ne ja balance 20 cedis fiscal discipline is to yes why discipline? One level. First of all, what draw program? One level with it means we are balance 20. Semi kunu uko pa ne na uko nya 40 cedis. Inti 8 na so best spend no. When to me and spend it. Who spend it 20? And a balance 20 na. So the catch them is fiscal discipline. Say some can say major balance 20. If you are in 20, no, but 20, but some mammy fiscal discipline. Nanantis how? Because 80 now, what cars or best spend, the lay the year to maybe you no, same quality did you talk a ye near my mom brunye. I call my scaka crab only on sable. When to me and ya 100 lintino, we are 40 pentino, 20 penalty to me the mammy, not 20 with the bed. It was a near my car said being an engineer, your name on balance 20 in there at that table no so. Mikunu, and your fiscal discipline. No. Sabine Kosu, yes, I deal we see. Now cannot say fiscal discipline. No, in repairs and say, both say, Sika no one can say here, the air or no one jumampo. Na yet to me, Ebuna ten say, aqua, passum pafu, why ye jumano. And now one year Jumani and Ejumana and Swaba. Ejuman crown to be there because he can anymore. Tianuntina, ye course will draw by an attention, say. The first place also more in your fiscal strategy. Year 1, no, I'm fat. Yabuane, your friend is saying, $1 is what is anti ama or de abajadi for any Ghana for emu. And I would $1 no boss for him. Kai who say ya was suffer mafo abra 2001 or apply shock therapy masidi ni dina e kakra saa time ye call HIPIC into your debt servicing e free ho kakra ne ade no edi Ghana for the man ne say oya ade yie osafomafo kai hunu say kwabenadufo 2009 abra opompe dollar kakra inflation so tie inflation by single digit bayan fiemens and edi Ghana for the man here unprecedented kai hunu say Kenoforiata oba 2017 obe pompe dollar kakra dollar gina me am penny Dr. Baumi akra be kan so say dollar ni aton handcuff the keys na my IGP ADB for kra ma Kenoforiata finance minister of the African Development Bank na se one solve structural problem na manusi sumina so asembako esipe bonsa fini na him ti se normal bonsa for inside to is forcing a kwamena e mani nya ode yini na emi ani cost structural issues no enye saa the SCC emre ababesin kono yisupuse bi besan atobi yenkomo aye difa budget no
interesting your 5 minutes bi, but let me ask this. I'm just thinking, say it appears that despite your resources are you no your resources are you, we are always looking at the fiscal space, whether contractionary, expansionary, you cry the expansion, ye dibroso. But I'm just thinking about there are many potential resources, and no one can give us a certain fiscal space. But they be limited to how much I was here, JJ, any kakra yebeko akodi as bosia near their boy and hobra. Nancy a gold board back kakre, at least you will say it may JJ kakra. Are we saying, say, as a country, we are not able to identify potential places, and yet necessary say you're there 2 or minus so. Nemo ye betimi a harnesse atape add value. Say the beya a betimi a reki in some revenue, a betimi dia babeka your national kit no ho, other than always looking at the normal thing of what's your JJ tax near your expanded tax net. Don't we have any innovative and creative ways?
That's a question. The whole canon say the friend of non-tax revenue no ye be de any pijam. Into non-tax revenue ye acquire ye first unye sika ba ban akatia no nye to. Into bia aban wo shares wo ejuma we steam. Se ejuma na fie no so na se omo ye ejuma na se omo nya mfaso a wo se ye de bi ba aban akachi. Ana se ye gudi a ye wo no aban wo de friend no royalties wom. Inti se ubi kutu agudie na ehuske bi wo ho eno wo se ode bre omanpani akonwa no eno ye akonwa ne dia eno ye oman ne dia ana said your friend no carried and participating interest capi inti te se oil gold link ka no ade problem a ye wo young politician for problem e won say the first place aban nyuma e wo ho a wo se nka wo de ma obi a onim adwuma ne se onye ne te se ono ankasa na adwuma te se private sector na onsum yie ma yenya profit no politician for no yenye ne saa o MPP ni NDC nyina nya atwom ye koto abana akwa bi ko gina MP wo baabi a wanwini no ye ba aban mu a ye se ye tete adwuma na de amana CEO obekọ no akọbọ ye ka akọbọ ye form into state owned enterprises ni bebre obekọ no na eka eneda ho because MPP for yenuanom NDC for yenyinara o campaign job for the boys into kojina MP or baby no wenwini o tran beti na say appoint no say or a CEO or baby and as ma make no kwa na meba nti ye na ye the first guilty culprit na se sa de na best san ye wo se sesan ya dwen na ye ma ye party for no ti ase say adwuma bi ti say asem kan ECG yemfa mo bi say ye koto aba no wenwini nti yemfa ma so na ye ECG CEO utaboy ka ECG o say de mo bi o ye engineer and economist why ye juma wo energy sector ni mu fitimre something out tiase Ghana water ene de ama minua ba kwa na parliament ko lose the seat to Abuja na ko de ama ne because one firm man party for be kasa me bomb pie say Uncle boy a cow. But there are so many examples of state-owned enterprises. Yeah, we are near Chama. And only first problem. The second problem, politics in tea. Say, yet the insisabia, but say, ye good you away. Royalty said that's why 10%. Also, mining at 10%. A bank son will be bape. Nancy say, I know, my best son. Lithium deal, yeah, I can 17 meaning so what do you the original structure of the lithium deal, and now say Ghana royalties, M7 10%, non-tax revenue. For any day, it's a new one on the Abano. They do that level. Or may reducing it downwards. 90. Uber then when you say non-tax revenue, no, because a good year need war, but a to be a sikakra ni methodology also the tour. Say or mine no say assassin no unibi nti obi fi baby no oil na nyankopon ache oil president Kufuor mobile and osesa rules no ma yetumi nyankofo betu oil ni ntam nyesa nkehye ase sika wuhia for oil exploration no kra wuni this is okofo obi ba na okofa ne ba no wan hwehwe mmara ni year wo so unya will carry them participating interest year wo so no wetuko bo ja oketo ebi into yen political class no yen na wosi gyan nya atwom no na focusing more on quite a bit to me raising non-tax revenue among mine and yes I don't say good year try west Asia nanso yenya emusika emfenye adwuma emom baby ba kwa kan ya me no nya adwuma me correct but onye gold board ne buy a yenya forex earnings gold board no eno ani PMMC na wo ho no PMMC no eno na 2021 ye dey started gold purchase program sabrena gold ni boy $1,700 an ounce and the gold boy $4,000 an ounce for the first time since independence up until June 2021 na Ghana gold ni na 8 tons yera baumia ema ye di gold purchase program buy. By the time I fear na gold na free 8 tons about 30 tons. That is a growth of 22 tons between 2021 and 2024. So 2.5 years now. Into a paradigm shift. Economics money say I might be brave chance at the friend metanomics. Into so more producers check about I might be brave chance say oh mine obey what to me appropriate access over natural resources. Na also wet me nya ho kakra no na ama ye gold reserves to say emu pija 30 na ye ja na buy to say oto aso no wanya be 31.2 to 1.2 aka ho no na change dynamics no ya de pa say NDC for kan okore so ade we ye inherited from MPP aboye yes you inherited and crampo no ye de kwa nim say to say ya passing law say obi akra into me export gold ni biom just a gold board nko na mo aka no kra no oh yes ana no man ye ko nanim mo nye ne sa na be ka say gold board na e change dynamics na o say yes we spend time me e kire mo history ni e waste time ni na e debate instead of ye be ko yanim
just 30 seconds the ekoso MPP mu we can no from your perspective ususu said ni betimi aboa the afutu na de be mo 30 seconds.
And Emma no bako nyame mo e dey January 31st na competition no in free ho. Then number 2 there was a party leadership number of 9 form so be didn't know which side he belongs to someone discipline there will always be chaos.
Honorable Kojo upon Nkrumah Nyankopon enhyira for your time and patience. That's it.
Your name is Medase.
I am former information minister, no Kasama Abai, and I am MP of Wasi Ayribi, and now I am a senior in this job. I say, I am some true need that I am multimedia need this year. Now on a morning show host, our Joy FM.
For the opportunity to add my comments to on the budget. Mr. Speaker, before I go on, I'd just like to correct some mistruths that my colleague on the other side just made. One, he mentioned that we borrowed to the tune of 60 billion Ghana cedis. Unless their 2025 budget is wrong. Go to page 14, paragraph 143. It says 49.4 billion cedis and not the 60 billion. Unless your 2025 budget was wrong. 2. And Mr. Speaker, this is the total debt of the country from independence to date. Mr. Speaker, again, he said he inherited an economy that was in a mess. An economy that was in a mess left 1 trillion of GDP as against 219 billion Ghana cedis in 2016. An economy that was in a mess, Mr. Speaker, we left 4 months of import cover, close to $9 billion. An economy that was in a mess. Mr. Speaker, again, he also mentioned that the IMF program was derailed. That is not correct, and that is not true. We were here when the finance minister mentioned that when he came, he inherited an arrears to the tune of 68.7 billion. And based on that, he used it to calculate the deficit. Just last week, he came to correct himself, and I was expecting that he would go back to the numbers and correct it. He said they have validated the arrears of 68 billion, and it's only 47.4 billion that is recognized arrears. So that if it is 47.4 billion that is recognized arrears, how then do you consistently use 6.8 to prove a point? They will have to check their data. There is a problem, and this boils down to the credibility of the budget, Mr. Speaker, and that should be checked. Mr. Speaker, we left a growth of 5.7%. Today, I'm happy that their budget, they claim, is on resetting for growth, jobs, and economic transformation. But Mr. Speaker, what do you see? Half year, they have 6.3% of GDP growth, and yet, they are claiming that growth at the end of the year will be 4.8%. How is that, Mr. Speaker? Half year, you have a growth rate of 6.3%. End of the year, you are saying your growth rate will be 4.8%. I was hoping that when the minister was reading the budget, based on the improvements that they claim they have seen in the economy, they were going to adjust that figure to reflect reality. But here we are, he's saying that end year growth rate will still be 4.8, when half year is 6.3. Mr. Speaker, this budget, we are told, is transformative. What is transformational about this budget? Mr. Speaker, you are adding close to 50 billion in expenditure to the 2026 budget from 2025 budget. But what do we see in the growth numbers? A paltry 0.1% growth. They are forecasting that growth will increase to 4.9% from 4.8%. After the Nkukwan Kete, after the 200 schools and machinery and all the things they are saying they are going to do, Mr. Speaker, it is not reflecting in the growth. I'll take you to paragraph 41 of the budget, table 4. Mr. Speaker, look at the ECOWAS sub-region growth rates and look at the growth rates of Ghana. These are countries that we are on the same level with. Benin will grow at 7% in 2025, and then in 2026 grow at 6.7%. Mr. Speaker, Burkina Faso will grow at 4% in 2025, and in 2026, 4.8%. Cote d'Ivoire, very close to us, on the same level, will grow at 6.4%. Here we are, Ghana, 4.8%, and adding an additional 50 billion in expenditure, you are growing at 4.9. When half year, you claim you are doing 6.3. Mr. Speaker, the numbers are not telling that story. It is not adding up. So, Mr. Speaker, if you tell Ghanaians that this budget is focused on growth, and yet your growth numbers, what you are hoping to achieve with all the inputs that you are putting in, clearly there is something wrong, and they ought to recheck the numbers again. Mr. Speaker, but you must ask yourself, why do we see a dip in industry numbers? Industry fell from 7.1% to 3.2%. Mr. Speaker, do you know why? It is because of the 1D, 1F that has been cancelled, and other growth opportunities that have been taken away from the budget that needed to be continued to make sure that we propel the growth that we had already begun, because we closed growth at 5.7 in 2024. So, Mr. Speaker, it is the numbers that they have channeled that I'm speaking to. Yes. And so our majority leader will note that it is the numbers in the book that we are speaking to. And Mr. Speaker, let me also look at, let's look at infrastructure. Mr. Speaker, the reason why we are not seeing that growth is because of infrastructure. Mr. Speaker, every infrastructure is infrastructure. So that you cannot tell us that the Accra-Kumasi Road will be done in 2027 and that you have funds to do other equally important roads that you haven't even begun. But here we are, the Accra-Kumasi Road. People take 8 good hours from Accra to Kumasi. Lots of working time, business time, economic time, Mr. Speaker. And so we have Accra Kumasi. It is to a certain rate. And we are asking, every infrastructure is infrastructure. Why don't you complete that one? And yet you are asking us, you will do so in 2027, Mr. Speaker. If this budget is a budget of growth, then they should look at this, because it is also very, very important. Mr. Speaker, one other thing that the teaming youth keep asking, not where is the 24-hour economy you promised us? You promised Ghanaians 1 job, 3 people, 3 shifts. You promised Ghanaians 1 job, 3 people, 3 shifts. Where is it? Clearly, Mr. Speaker, when you look at the funding in the budget, on one page it says 90 million. On another page, it says 110 million. So this is what I'm speaking to. Even the numbers in the budget are not adding up. Mr. Speaker, if this is dear to your heart and the theme of your budget is growth, jobs, and economic transformation, and the 24-hour economy, which says 1 job, 3 people, 3 shifts, you are putting just 110 million or 90 million, then clearly you are just speaking to it and not actually making sure that it happens. Mr. Speaker, here we are, we claim, we all see the menace of Galamsey. But Mr. Speaker, it also has to do with the issue of joblessness. In as much as we're trying to reduce the menace of Galamsey, Mr. Speaker, the youth were promised jobs. The youth were promised jobs. So, Mr. Speaker, I expect us to do more. And if the theme of the budget says growth, jobs, and economic transformation, then the numbers here are not telling that story. Because after all said and done, it is the numbers, it is the money, the allocation that you put into it that will see to the implementation of your policy. So, Mr. Speaker, that has also been found wanting. And then, Mr. Speaker, there's another important thing that I believe that we should all avail our minds to. Mr. Speaker, that has to do with the fight against illegal mining, popularly known as Galamsey. Mr. Speaker, in this same budget, paragraph 1009, the minister said that the devastation caused by illegal mining has gone far beyond economics. It threatens our survival. That is what the minister said. It threatens our survival. So, Mr. Speaker, if something threatens your survival, what are you supposed to do? You are supposed to fight it to make sure you survive. And how can you fight it when with a ministry of 2.1 billion budget, you only give the agency to fight it 150 million Ghana cedis, Mr. Speaker? 150 million Ghana cedis out of the 2.1 billion budget given to the Ministry of Lands and Forestry. Mr. Speaker, when I compare it to the total budget, when you take out your compensation and you compare it to the total budget, 150 million, you compare it to the total budget, the contribution is 0.003%. 0.003%, Mr. Speaker. So how can you say that it goes beyond economics and it threatens our survival? If you put such an amount in there, are you telling Ghanaians that you are fighting it, or you are just putting out words and playing with Ghanaians. Mr. Speaker, like I said, the Galamsey issue also has to do with jobs. And so we were thinking that beyond that, government was going to put some monies into the alternative livelihoods so that you can take them off the Galamsey and find some jobs for them to do. Mr. Speaker, in this same budget, you look at the monies that were allocated to the alternative livelihoods, just 35 million Ghana cedis. Just 1% of the 2.1 billion Ghana cedis under Ministry of Lands and Forestry. Now, Mr. Speaker, we all know, the minister has also quoted, that this threatens our survival. Our major rivers are recording very high turbidity levels, and which is far above the WHO guidelines for safe drinking water. Our rivers are polluted and they are poisoned. Mr. Speaker, the media reports that there's rising still beds, there's increased cancer and chronic diseases, farmlands rendered sterile, and fish stocks shrinking and malformed. Mr. Speaker, and so if you say that it threatens our survival, I don't expect you to put 0.003% of the total budget into something that threatens your survival. Mr. Speaker, the Galamsey menace is a war. If it's a war, then this budget, Mr. Speaker, this budget is telling us that it's like we are in a battlefield with plastic chairs instead of armors to fight and make sure we win this. Because if you send 150, which is 7% of the total budget of the Ministry of Lands and Forestry, and 0.003%, then clearly it is not a matter of survival. It is just a matter of words. Words, fluffy words, that don't have any meaning. But Mr. Speaker, we need to rise above that. This is hurting us, this is killing us, this is poisoning our food. And so we need to do something more than that. I expect that before we approve this budget and pass appropriation, the minister would have amended the monies given to fight Galamsey and also to improve on the alternative livelihoods of people who are winged of Galamsey. That is when you can tell me that this is really threatening our survival, and so you're doing something about it. But Mr. Speaker, all said and done, I believe that we should have a Galamsey emergency program with real financing. Because even Mr. Speaker, let me quote one thing that President Mahama said on the 3rd of October 2025. He said that Ghana needs a substantially bigger budget than what is currently available if the country is to win the fight against illegal mining. This was on 3rd of October. The budget was taken to cabinet. President Mahama got the opportunity to view the budget, and he knew how much was going to be used to fight Galamsey. Because of what he said, that we need a substantially bigger budget, I was expecting that he advises the minister to put in more than he has put in the budget for Galamsey. So, Mr. Speaker, I am asking, I'm proposing, and I believe that it is the wish, it is the heart desire of our citizens out there that we come up with a Galamsey emergency program with real financing, so that, Mr. Speaker, we will be able to address this menace. It is killing us, it is hurting us, and that will come back to hurt the economy. It will move beyond the economic to us our survival. So, Mr. Speaker, I would ask of you that the House will agree with me that it is something we should do. But all said and done, one last thing I want to put on record is that, Mr. Speaker, I am happy with the value for money office that they want, the minister wants to set. But I want to advise him. PPA is already doing that. PPA has that mandate. So why set up another office, incur more costs? The whole idea is very good. Mr. Speaker, that whole idea of value for money office is very, very good. But, Mr. Speaker, there is already an office set up for this. Transformation does not mean new offices. Transformation also means building their capacity, giving them what they ought to be given so that they can fight some of these things. I understand the minister.
Honourable Member, conclude.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.